Everlane was the first brand that I learned about when I started my sustainable fashion journey. I had graduated with a degree in fashion design and landed my first job in the fashion industry. So I was looking to start my office wardrobe, and I had learned in my classes about how exploitative sweatshops are and how bad for the planet overconsumption is. So Everlane, with their promise of radical transparency and sustainable manufacturing, sounded like the perfect fit for me. You also have to remember the Obama optimism we all felt at the time. You got me, I'm a millennial. I remember it being such a big deal when Everlane came out with their jeans because they were able to work with a manufacturer that could recycle 98% of the water used in production. Now that is a big deal because the denim industry specifically is known for a high water usage, high energy consumption, and chemical pollution. So I remember being really excited that we were seeing a company take this seriously and make cleaner jeans. But I didn't need any new jeans at the time, so I bought a couple t-shirts from the brand and have been wearing them out ever since. And then the next time that I heard about Everlane in the news was in 2020, when they were caught union busting. Additionally, several employees spoke out about the racism that they faced within the company. That really tarnished their reputation for everyone, including myself. So I didn't know until I was researching for this video that backlash actually led to their business tanking. So Everlane was bought by L Catterton, which is LVMH's private equity company. And knowing that they were bought by a private equity company, it totally makes sense to see where we are at present day, where Everlane has been bought by none other than Shein. Shein, as you probably know by now, is a company that's almost synonymous with fast fashion. Actually, they blew all fast fashion metrics out of the water that they created a new term for Shein specifically, which is ultra fast fashion. They basically outpace every other fashion brand when it comes to carbon emissions and pollution, and they have been credibly accused of human rights violations. To take a comment from the Puck Instagram post that was announcing the sale, this is like if SeaWorld bought PETA. So I was pretty distraught when the news broke, but some of the articles that I was reading were acting like sustainable fashion is over, consumers don't care about sustainable fashion as much as they think that they do, and I 100% disagree with all of that, and that's what I want to talk about today. Before I really get into it, I want to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Nabila. I have worked in the fashion industry. I make videos about sustainable fashion and sewing, and if that interests you at all, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. So going back to what I was saying about Everlane, I really think the death of Everlane started ironically with the rise of eco-fashion in the 2010s. As consumers became educated with sustainable buzzwords from brands like Everlane, Reformation, and Allbirds, other brands that were not as sustainable as the ones I just mentioned started co-opting those words, and thus began the problem of greenwashing. Greenwashing is such a problem in the fashion industry because there aren't many regulations stopping brands from plastering these buzzwords all over their websites. Just about any brand can say they're sustainable and say that their garments are made with care, and they don't have to back up those claims, to the point where we've hit major greenwash fatigue. And I think we've hit a point where we're all too cynical to trust that a brand is really as sustainable or ethical as they claim to be. In general, I think it's really hard for a brand to remain sustainable when they grow too fast. Brands like Patagonia and Eileen Fisher have grown their businesses slowly and steadily. And of course, right now the tariffs are tough for any business, let alone one that is trying to do things sustainably while maintaining their price point. And the price point is really important right now when money is tight for everyone. It's no secret that sustainable brands are more expensive than fast fashion, so naturally the consumer interest in sustainable fashion is going to fluctuate with the economy. It's also very hard to have a successful business model that doesn't rely on the customer buying new things constantly. That's what makes any fashion brand business model inherently unsustainable. So now as millennials, we have woken up. We understand that simply buying from the good guys isn't going to grant us this cleaner fashion ecosystem. It's clear that our individual actions can only go so far. What we desperately need is policy that is going to hold these fast fashion companies responsible. California has had a textile waste law that went into effect in 2025 to hold companies responsible to pay into a system that collects and recycles textile waste. They also passed a law requiring companies to reveal their carbon emissions and work towards lowering them. So are people not interested in sustainable fashion anymore? The most sustainable way to get dressed is by using clothes that have already been produced. aka shopping secondhand. And the secondhand market has never been easier to access with companies like Vinted, Depop, and ThredUp. ThredUp has reported an increased profit of 15% year over year. I would say that someone shopping at ThredUp now is probably the same person that would have been shopping at Everlane 10 years ago. I mean, I'm actually a perfect example of that. Not to mention, even people who are not sustainably minded might be encouraged to thrift their clothes right now because disposable income is so tight. Thrifting is actually the perfect intersection of budget-friendly and sustainable. I'm also noticing a lot more people adopting clothing rental services, which is a great way to get the new clothes feeling without accumulating so much stuff. And I can't help but mention that sewing is trending right now. Yes, it is totally recession core, but I think it's great that people want to understand how their clothes are made on a deeper level. Wearing clothes is so much like eating food in that it's something that you need to do every day, and it's so normal for many of us to learn how to cook, but somehow learning how to sew seems way more daunting. So I think it's great that people are taking up sewing as a hobby, even if it's just to patch a few holes or hem their own pants. I also wanted to mention another take that I've been seeing, which is that people are really interested in sustainable fashion, and Shein is buying Everlane to clean up their reputation and to grab their supply chain to make maybe a premium line that is more sustainable. Who knows really? I guess we're gonna have to wait to find out. If you've stuck around to the end of the video, I think you'll enjoy this other video that I made about sustainable changes that I'd like to see in the fashion industry, and I have another video about how I shop for clothing that will last me a long time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!